Hello and welcome to another full review and my thoughts video from Killer Off-Road Hobbies. I'm Gary, your host for this video and every video on this channel. I want to give a huge thanks to GearBest.com for sending me this to review for them. A link will be down in the description, so thank you GearBest. Very awesome, and hopefully you like this review as well. And I want to give a huge shout out to Christopher, Charles, Raz, and Phil. You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting the channel. I very highly appreciate it. Now, getting into this, as I said, this thing was sent to me from GearBest to do a review on. I have several bash videos of this that you can check out on my channel, showing its flaws, its positive points, and we're gonna go over a lot of that today. Sorry, it is a little bit dirty. I didn't go full bore, clean it, crazy style, but I did clean it up a little bit, and we will get into everything that's positive and negative about this thing. So, in this corner, we have the transmitter that comes with this thing. I found this to be an awesome transmitter, actually. I had no problems at all with range or anything like that. It's comfortable in the hand. It does look kind of weird with this front thing, but I don't mind it. So yeah, and it has your reverse switches, your trim switches for throttle and steering, and it also has throttle dual rate, which I think is a huge plus. I think every transmitter that is produced should come with throttle dual rate, and it has your steering dual rate as well. So all of that stuff's fun, nice, very happy with this thing. Yeah, like I said, no problems. Does look a little bit different, but I don't mind that. The battery that came with this thing, this is a Hardcase 3S 2600 milliamp 20C discharge LiPo battery. I found this to be pretty good in this truck, and surprisingly enough, only being 2600 milliamps, it did last longer than I expected, quite a bit longer than I expected actually. I think this is a little bit underrated. I think this probably holds about 28, maybe even 3000 milliamp hours. So I do think this is a decent battery to get you started. I would suggest, if you can afford it, upgrading the battery though, and definitely get 4S, because this thing is fun on 4S. Alright, so coming to the truck, just going to go over some pros and cons, talk about the truck a little bit, and then give you my thoughts. Now initially, like it or not like it, I tend to actually like it. The body, I'm going to give the body the stamp okay on looks, but I'm going to give it the first con with the body. I did not have that many crazy crashes with this thing, but as you can see, the body is way worse for the wear. I didn't take any precautionary steps to reinforce this body whatsoever, but it did pretty much just tend to blow out on its own. I don't think I had any landings on the top of it or anything. Few rollovers, but as far as the body, I like the look of it, like the colors, but the body is something that you will probably have to replace relatively quickly if you get this vehicle. But hey, a lot of people say they don't like the look of the body anyways, so you know, that will just give you a little bit of incentive, I guess, to get yourself a different body. Alright, moving on to the truck. You see a lot of aluminum on this truck, and as far as I had that one mishap right out of the box off the first jump with that pin breaking. I haven't had any durability issues outside the body cracking since that point, and I tend to be pretty rough on my RCs, so that's giving this thing a pretty good okay stamp from me on durability wise. I have heard this thing is very durable. I've heard from other people it's not that durable. I will say it is durable enough. It is definitely durable enough for what it cost, what it is, and what kind of power system is in this thing. I think it's a good balance of toughness to power ratio. Even on 4S, this thing tended to hold up well, and like I said, I had that one problem. Okay, so just kind of doing a scan over the truck once again. I know I did this in the first look video, but I do this in every review video anyway. So starting from the back going to the front, you have aluminum threaded body oil filled shocks in the rear. Your camber is adjustable due to adjustable camber leaks, typical H-arms on the bottom, and they do look to be mirrored to the front, so one set of spare bottom A-arms should be plenty. The battery tray is going to be a con, I'm going to say, because I don't like how it's set up. When you're putting your battery in here, it tends to, I'll kind of tip this up. So when you're putting your battery in here, it tends to pull these out, the straps, and it's in there so close to this chassis brace that is very, very difficult to, like, I found the easiest way to do it was to hold the two battery straps just by the little top edges, hold them up against that chassis brace like this, slide the pack in, and then strap the battery down. It's not that the battery tray is poorly designed or anything like that. It's plenty big enough for a 3-4S pack. The straps are long enough. I would have just liked to see the straps turn the other way, which I don't think is possible unless you take the battery tray out and turn it around, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it. I'll just deal with the inconvenience of it. But it's not a huge flaw, but it is a con, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it. As far as the ESC did great. I didn't have any heat issues on 3 or 4S. I did not run this thing on 2S because 3S was not that, wasn't that spunky. So on 2S it would have been less than that, but 4S, this thing is good to go. Same story with the motor. The motor did fine, no heat issues. It does have this nice heat sink on it, and it does have these screw holes to go ahead and mount a fan on there if you get a fan of the right dimensions. Motor has plenty of power on 4S. It is lacking on 3S, but it does have a small pinion in here, so you could up the pinion. I've heard a 16-tooth pinion on 3S is the way to go with this thing. But be careful of your temps. Don't quote me on that. I did this all in stock form. I didn't change anything except for replacing that one pin. Moving forward from that, I found the steering circle to be plenty for this truck. It turned the wheels fine. It does have, for the size of the truck, it does have pretty big tires, and I found it to do just fine with those. And all the aluminum did fine. Front and rear bumper held up, the wing held up. Like I said, I didn't really have any durability issues with it outside of that one little, you know, can happen, will happen type things. I did scratch the chassis up pretty decent, but there's no deep scratches in it. It's basically just scratched the anodized coloring off of it, but the chassis held up beautifully. Coming to the tires, I'm going to give the tires a con. They didn't work very well. I heard good things about these tires, but I had a very poor experience with these. They didn't tend to get any traction at all, even when after the rain, when it was nice and grippy out there. Just didn't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and give the tires a con, but they do look pretty cool. Alrighty, so putting the body back on and just kind of going over what I did, if I can get the body back on. There we go. So I jumped this thing, I backflipped this thing. I had fun with this thing. I was frustrated at some points with this thing. As of right now, I believe this thing is $265 as of the time of this video, and I'm going to go ahead and say that is a good price point for this thing. It's not the craziest, most powerful RC you'll get, but it does have decent enough durability. It does come 100% ready to run outside of 4 AA's, and I do think you get your money's worth out of this thing. Now, with the price point being less than $300, being a 10 scale, having 17 millimeter hubs, I do think this thing is a good value for dollar. Now, am I going to give this my 100% stamp of approval? Probably not 100%. I'll give it a 90%, because while this truck is very fun, durable enough for what it is, powerful enough for what it is, I do think for relatively close to the same price, there is better out there. And but you are going to pay a little bit more money for it. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. You know, this thing does have very good potential. It is a very good basis, and I do think this is a good value truck. But like I said, would I buy this over something that's probably around $300? I'm not sure. It depends on what you're talking about. But this is definitely better than a lot of 10 scale 4-wheel drive RCs I have tested. But it's not as good as some of the higher dollar RCs that I've tested. So it's in the middle. It's a good price point, and it's good for what it is. So I am going to go ahead and give this thing 1 thumb up and 1 thumb sideways. That is the possibly find something better, but good buy. So I do think for the price point, this is a good buy. $300 is pushing it a little bit. So if you do see it for about 300 bucks, maybe look around, kind of weigh your options. But as far as this truck goes, it does have my stamp of approval. Oof. And I do think it is a decent, ready to run RC, and you will most likely, if you get this, be happy with it. All right, that's gonna conclude this review and my thoughts video. I hope that was all the information you were wanting and or looking for. Please check out the description. As I said, huge thank to GearBest for sending this for review. Their link will be in the description below, as well as links to get Killer Off-Road Hobbies stuff like this shirt. You can get a hoodie, you can get a coffee mug. Sorry you can't get a hat, but I'm trying to work on that, so we'll see what that holds in store. And check out the donation link if you want to get in on any ongoing or upcoming raffles we are having here, right here at Killer Off-Road Hobbies. Until next time, everybody, get out there, get an RC, go have some fun, and we'll see you right back here on the next video. Peace.